of quarantine.
I know. I was like, is it our week 8 or is it week 8 of quarantine? What? I've lost track of it all.
No.
Week 8 of infinity. You will need a piece of paper and a pen today, or pencil.
Yes.
So if you would please consider getting that, that would be delightful.
– 81 degrees, Erna. That's hot.
It is.
Is it that hot outside or just that hot inside your house?
It's the way it's in the late afternoon. The room I'm in is like all windows with no insulation. The sun is setting, so it beats this way. So it's often hotter in my office room than it is even outside.
It's like a little greenhouse.
Yeah. So it's just in fact, I'm going to just change the angle of my leg fan real quick.
Trademark it. Hi, Joe. It's a cute picture of you.
It is a cute picture.
Oh, there we go.
Is it a painting?
Looks like it. Oh, and then suddenly real life. It pivoted. Oh, good. Is Brian here? Because Brian put out a job notice and I felt that I should get it and he has not responded yet to me.
You had a very strong case.
I did. Because he's like, oh, I need a designer and someone who's really good at typography. And I was like, I'm not good at any of those things.
Hello.
I think you used the word papyrus.
Papyrus.
So I don't know why that wasn't a shoe-in.
Hey, Alana, welcome. Good to see you. Also, as you're joining, you'll need a paper and a pen today, if you can. So if you can get a little scrappy paper and a little pen, that'd be great.
Hey, Tyler. Hey, Brian.
Brian and Tyler and Brian. From Alabama Incorporated. Sorry, I just did a real.
I like watching Brandy's face when Erna does that. So I'm just going to do that for this whole call. Can you look at the screen without getting sick?
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Brandy's been getting.
Yeah. I've been getting really sick looking at.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So I'm like, all of my work and planning is happening on sheets of paper.
Analog.
All about the sheets of paper. That's my way. Old school.
Too. I wasn't ready, but now I am.
Hi, Lucy.
Does it make you feel sick to your stomach?
I love seeing Lucy.
Wait, what?
He's welcome here.
Wait, where is she? Oh, wait, how are you seeing Lucy? Oh.
It's coming from inside the house.
Yeah, she did a little from this side peeking.
Oh, Brandy, that's terrible. Does it make you feel sick to your stomach? Do you need to close your eyes while we go through this time?
Well, Zoom is okay most of the time. It's if I'm typing, which is like 90% of my work. And so I just look at the screen for 20 minutes, get sick, lay down for 10 minutes, work for 20 minutes, get sick, lay down for 10 minutes.
Oh.
That's terrible, friend. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
So someone
You got this, Erna. You can do it.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Ariel just messaged me on Facebook, but no, now she's gone. Wait. Hold on. Let me just let me message her.
What do you need? The link?
Did any of you guys have trouble signing? Oh, wait, there you are, Ariel. Okay, I was just messaging you. I was like, I saw you. You got it. All right. We're about 4:06. Should we start? Should we begin our time?
I think we should start.
Okay.
Do it.
Let us start.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. We're glad to have you here. Just take a little inhale and exhale, because
Life be crazy.
Because Earth and humanity are being exactly how they're being. And we had a little check-in today because we were like, man, there's so much trauma and grief going on right now. obviously like responding to this murder of Ahmaud Arbery that happened. And also this week, May 5th is also a day where we focus on like missing and murdered Indigenous women. And there's just so much. And so we were like, are we just being tone deaf to talk about play? But we actually felt like, no, I don't know if nonstop meditating on the trauma is actually what we need to do right now. And that actually, that tending to ourselves as embodied people is an important part of staying engaged and just being people of healing and being people of justice and being people who are balanced. We've talked about that a lot in this space. So we decided that for those who wanted to opt in, we would stay on this topic because I think play is sacred and our whole being and wellness is a part of justice. So that was our thoughts on that, but just want to acknowledge the space we're in coming in and that was some of the thinking. So the other thing is this is going to be the last of our Thursday gatherings because we're going to shift our attention to our conference in June. So we were going to have an online conference. Sorry, I think someone's texting me. They can't get it.
June 12th through 13th.
Yes. Can someone text Josh Harper? He can't get in the room apparently. Scott, can you text Josh? And so yes, June 12th through 12th and 13th, we're going to do like a little, we were going to have an in-person conference. We're moving it online. Obviously, we're not going to do like, Saturday morning from 9 to 9 p.m., 12 hours of nonstop Zoom. Like we're really thinking about how to break it up, be creative, maybe like gather and then give you things that you can do while you're taking a walk and then come back and we'll interact over it. So we're working to make it creative and interactive, but it's a version of the content that we did last year in November. And it's just such good stuff. So if you can join, you can go to the website, which Tracy will drop into the chat. And we hope you guys will hang out with us. So that is us. Before I jump us into our topic, Jenny, did you want to say anything too about the other project you're working on?
Yeah, so I'm just connected to a project that Josh Harper's doing. It's through InterVarsity. It's called the Camino. And typically they would be having a pilgrimage in Spain, walking along the Camino, but that can't happen for obvious reasons. So there's a few staff that have created an experience of this kind of walking and reflecting just right here where you're at. And I've shared a couple of reflections and I've been recording them today. But they're going to do some fun stuff looking at wines from Spain, some doing cooking classes for paella, and then just talking about the spirituality of walking. And I think Josh is going to put, there you go, if you want the digital Camino, it's right there in the chat as well. It sounds really lovely. I'm going to be joining that time too, and that's next week, May 12th through 19th.
Awesome. So those are a few things that are going on. So we are just going to talk a little bit about play. If you are just joining us, if you can grab a paper and a pen, at one point you'll need that. So grab it. Otherwise, we thought it would just be fun to tell some stories to get you thinking about ways that you've played, because I think as adults we stop feeling like that's okay. So when we were hanging out prepping, we started reminiscing about things we did as kids, and it was just fun and absurd. So I don't know, Tracy, you want to kick us off? And what you can do as you're listening to us, if it reminds you of like things you used to do as a kid, like things you used to do to play or whatever, then just throw it into the chat. Because I think one of the things we realize is what different people find fun or playful is so unique. And sometimes we don't realize that. Like, for example, when I was becoming friends with Brandy Miller and I found out that one of the things she likes to do for fun is fly giant kites, not normal kites, giant kites.
That's amazing.
So you just never know what people do for play. You never know. You couldn't have called it. So Trey, kick us off a little bit.
Yeah, I just think it's goofy and fun to try to remember what you used to do as a kid when you play. I don't know if last time you thought about that, but it's just a fun question to kind of mull over. So as a kid, I liked to make stuff, I realized. Friendship bracelets, salt dough ornaments, mud pies. I used to do these barrettes where you would weave in these like ribbons so that they would like hang down and you would like give those to your friends. I also like to teach myself things. So I taught myself how to swim. I taught myself how to ride a bike, and I taught myself how to roller skate. And one of my favorite things in the whole world was my roller skates, which were white and then neon pink laces and neon pink wheels. That was like, those are like my prized possession. And I would like take them to visit my friends because we used to just skate around the neighborhood, go do things. So it was like this like source of adventure, and I'd go see my friends and we'd skate together. And then sometimes I would practice in my garage and I would like pretend I was like in the Olympics. So that was like my thing. I would practice tricks. Twirls.
Did you try a double axel?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like a fake double axel. I'd be like, that was me.
Excellent. And I love the things that we're seeing and throw stuff that you used to do in there. Jenny, what about you? What were things you used to do to play?
Yeah, okay. I had a lot of things too, but I'm going to pick the two that were like the most outstanding in my mind. So I played orphan a lot. And if you're like, if there's any psychologists out there, they're going to be like, ooh, interesting play. But yes, so two different ways I was an orphan. One involved my parents getting mauled by lions in the woods. It was me and my friend Kirsty, and we had this huge tree, but it was a magic tree that sheltered us, and because there was an evil witch that was always trying to chase us. And if the moon turned purple, it meant the witch was on the hunt. If the moon turned yellow, it meant that we were safe. So that would be kind of, that's what we would do, was play orphan. And then the other way I played orphan was that I was on a big giant boat, a ship, and it sunk. Thank God I got put on a lifeboat because I was a child. But on this lifeboat, they also handed me and my friend 4 little babies. And so on the lifeboat, we ended up landing on an island, and we took care of the babies on the island. We called that. Do you want to play Baby Island? Or do you want to play Orphan in the Woods? Hours, guys. Hours.
I feel like we can spend the whole rest of the time just unpacking that. That's just, it's rich.
I feel like there's so much. I like this paleontologist under the high school. I stole my neighbor's cherry tomatoes. Good, being a little robber. The lava, classic. Roller skating while setting the table and dropping all the plates. I like all of this. Riding the bikes. Yes, I love it all. I was an only child, and so a lot of my playing was alone. So I didn't realize this was unusual, but I used to narrate my entire life. Like, just everything I did, I would tell it like I was in a book. Like, Erna's walking down the hall right now. Ernest didn't turn the corner. Ernest going into the back. Like, I just narrated. And you got to remember, this is like the mid 80s. There's no video, there's no YouTube, right? This is not like a normal, like, my life is interesting. I also used to pretend that I would narrate my face washing routine every night, like a commercial. Long before YouTube influencers, this is 85, where I would, I think it was a lot based on the Noxzema girl, because I would always try to like splash the water on my face like the commercial, and I would like be looking into the mirror to like look like those girls, and I was an only child. That, and I read a lot of Sweet Valley High, like a lot of Sweet Valley High. It was just very comforting.
Sweet.
Very sweet. It was very, them white girls were living right in the suburbs. I was just enjoying watching their lives. So that was some of us. You guys keep throwing in your ideas. I love it. And what we wanted to also ask Jenny to maybe give us like some ways to think about play, because she said something when we started this series that, or was it Tracy? Literally, I had the exact same moment where I was like, which one of these two geniuses said it? But that that it isn't work and rest, but that thinking about work and play as being restorative has just been such an interesting thing to think about, because versus like work and rest so that I can work more. So I want to kick it over to Jenny and give us some containers to hold some thoughts around.
Yeah. So, and Tracy said that, not me.
I was like, the genius mold to one.
Yes, and the thing I would add to it is also play is engagement versus escapism. So I think a lot of times we think of play as just kind of zoning out, and there's nothing wrong with that. I watched so much This Is Us in the last 2 weeks, a lot of This Is Us. Sometimes you just need to just rest. But play in its essence is engagement. It's not escapism. So there's two things I wanted to say. We could talk endlessly about this. But I think one is that play engenders a sense of freedom inside it. So maybe you could even feel it in yourself. I know I could, as I share about my playful stories and crazy antics as a kid. It just, this sense of joy kind of bubbles up, with this freedom kind of fizzes up, like when you're drinking a 7-Up. I think, so there's three things with freedom, is that there's a freedom to imagine, and there's no boundaries on your imagination. You can imagine anything you want. So it gives you permission to just experience the world the way you want it experienced for a moment in your own imagination. It gives us freedom from our egos and our self-consciousness. When we're really in the thick of play, when you really watch kids in the thick of play, they're not concerned about what anybody else is thinking of them. They're just in it. They're present. And same for adults, when we're in the midst of real play, we're not worried about what people think of us. And that in and of itself is healing and restorative. And then the other thing is, I think if we're really in the thick of play, we're free of judgment from ourselves. And that's connected to the ego stuff too, but we're not judging ourselves. We're not deciding if something's right or wrong or better or good. We're just being, and we're just enjoying. Carl Jung, who's a famous psychologist, said, without playing and without fantasy, no creative work has ever come to birth. And I love that. Without play, without playing, without fantasy, no creative work has ever come to birth. That every creative thing that you've experienced, genius to just, your little kid doing crayons on the floor, it's because they've been willing to play, to engage in play. I think the other thing, and this is connected to what Erna was talking about earlier, I think also play can create a sacred space. A sacred space. So maybe a good example of this is UNICEF has this amazing program where they go to kids that are in war-torn countries or they're refugees, and they create a literal space, like a literal tent in the midst of the refugee camp, where there's toys, where there's crayons, where there's art all over the walls, and the kids can just walk in whenever they want and they can play, because they know that that's essential to a kid's life, is just having a safe space to play, to enjoy, to imagine, to create a place where they don't have to think about war, or a place where they process all the things that are going on. Like as they're coloring, I was reading about this, a lot of times as they're coloring, first it'll be pictures of bombs and guns, and then slowly it evolves to pictures of flowers and rainbows. So it's a place for them to process. So play creates a sacred space to process and to integrate things that are going on. So I think in the integrative sense, I don't know if you've ever found this, when you're working really hard on an idea and then you just get stuck, like you can't get anywhere. And the more you kind of keep thinking about it, the more you feel like you're bouncing your head against the wall. But if you go and take a walk, or you go and you listen to music, or you go and you dance around, suddenly you'll find, you do something that's playful, suddenly you'll find that you're not stuck anymore. Have you guys ever had that experience? So there's something about play that loosens up the right and left hemisphere of our brains and lets things just kind of circulate and integrate. So I think with those two things, it really is necessary in this time. I have found where there's so much suffering in the world, but to create some kind of sacred play space where I myself can, and maybe it's making a collage, or maybe it's dancing around or making goofy TikToks. I know Tracy's been doing a lot of that, but some space where your brain can rest and be restored, and you can integrate. You're not escaping from the suffering, but you're just allowing it to integrate, allowing your imagination to do something with it, to alchemically change it into something creative and maybe even something beautiful but certainly something joyful.
I love that. I love that. Oh, did you freeze? Or wait, you're done.
No,
Okay.
I'm just like sitting really still.
Okay. End scene. Uh, well, as we were thinking, wouldn't it be amazing? I wish we could be so amazing. Be like, now go to your door. We had a clown delivered, but we cannot do that. Which for some people will be fun, and for others, terrifying. But I want to take us through kind of an imagination exercise to just think about what we're drawn to, what feels fun. There's no right or wrong answers. This is just a way for us to collectively go, just have some reflection. My words are gone today. Yes.
Words are gone. Words are hard. It's okay.
But if you have a piece of paper, grab that. I'm going to have us close our eyes and imagine some different things. So if you feel more comfortable turning off your video during this time, that's fine. You want to leave it on, that's fine. Like I say, this is not your destiny. This is just for fun, okay? And and however you want to tweak it as we go, you can. So this will just be a couple minutes. So close your eyes. Whew, and just take a deep breath. And I want you to picture yourself outside. And you're going to scan the horizon, and in front of you, there are three totally different ecosystems. In one direction, there's a beautiful mountain with trees. In another direction, there's a large lake. And in another direction, there's a desert landscape with huge rock structures. You and your friend get to spend the afternoon in one of those areas. Which one do you move towards? So just in your imagination, move towards one of them. And just think, like, and what would you do? What would be fun for you to do in that space? And just write down 1 or 2 words that describe what drew you to the landscape that you chose. All right, now we're going to go to our next scene. So picture in your mind's eye that you and a group of friends are standing in a wide open area. And in front of you is a helicopter, a speedboat, a motorcycle, and one of those airplanes that you parachute out of. You and your friends can spend all afternoon with one of those. A helicopter, a speedboat, a motorcycle, or parachuting. Which one do you pick? And write down 2 words that describe what drew you to that option. All right, here's a third scenario. Now this one, you're on your own. So, and it's not quarantine time. Okay, we're not sheltering in place. You're liberated. You can go and do whatever you want, and every store and every location is open, and someone puts $500 in your hands and says, you have 4 hours and you must spend this on you, however you want. What do you do? You cannot save it. It must be spent by the end of the time. Just take a moment to imagine places you might go, things you might do, experiences you crave. And then similarly, write down a couple words that describe what drew you to the thing, the choices you made, your extravagant, free, quarantine-free adventure. All right. You walk into a room. Are you ready? There is a canvas with paint, tap shoes, a trumpet, and a sewing machine. And for the next 3 hours, you can be awesome at one of those activities. Which one do you pick? Canvas with paint, tap shoes, a trumpet, a sewing machine. And if you want to pull other people in to do that with you, you can, or if you're doing it on your own, you can. Which one do you pick? And there's just 2 more. I want you to imagine you and 10 of your favorite people have 10 minutes, and imagine your hands to play with one of these substances: slime, mud, sand, clay, or dough. All right, you and 10 of your friends have to deeply immerse your hands and play with, for 10 minutes, slime, mud, sand, clay, or dough. Which one do you pick? And then here's the last one. You're in an empty room and you can put 3 things in there. 3 things, 3 people, activities, or objects to just have some fun and play. What 3 things do you put in that room with you? All right. So hopefully that was kind of fun to think about. It would be really fun if you would pop into the, just throw into the chat, first, maybe throw into the chat like some of the words of what drew you to certain choices. So without even saying what you chose, but like just throw in words, the words you wrote down of what drew you to different choices. I think that would be really fun to see. So throw some, if you guys would pop that in. Many of my decisions were governed by how hot it is right now. That's real. Well, great. So throw in there some of the words of what drew you, and love it. Oh, love it. Love it. Keep doing that. And then it would just be fun maybe if like a couple of you want to put, was there anything that surprised you? Like a choice that you made that you were like, oh, I was surprised by my choice towards that. If you want to do like a quick unmute and just do like a 1-sentence share, like I was surprised I did this. It'd be fun to hear, because I also think it's always fun to hear what other people chose when it's different than you. So anyone surprised by a choice you made?
I was surprised that I wanted to play in the mud so much.
Okay. Love it.
I was surprised by choosing the canvas and paint, because you're like, you could be awesome at anything in the room. Mm-hmm. And there was a trumpet in there and a trumpet player, and I've always wanted to be more awesome at the trumpet. But I was like, but then there's so much pressure that goes along with that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no one expects anything out of me when they put paint in the canvas.
Well, I love that, because right, something about play feels like choosing something you're not like expert at. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I love that. Anyone else surprised by choices that you made? Let's do like a quick, who chose the mountains as your landscape? Who chose the lake? And anyone choose the desert scape? Okay, okay, just a few of you. I appreciate that. Who chose anyone choose the helicopter? I like that. Anyone choose the speedboat? When I practiced this on my husband, he was like, yeah, because I was going to put the speedboat on that lake. And he was creating like a whole integrated scenario. Great, you don't have to drive it. So I think that this is just a fun exercise, even just imagining these things. I feel like each time I was testing it out on cam, it would just felt energizing just to even think about play or just to imagine playing felt like it brought a lift to their room. And so hopefully that was fun, and hopefully that will inspire you to make a little room for something that you were drawn to. So I'm gonna kick it over to Tracy.
Just a closing, just an encouragement. I think when you're engaging with play, I remember when I first started my sabbatical and I just felt led to garden, and I'm not like a gardener. I was like notorious for killing plants. But I was like, I don't know, something in me feels like I want to do that and I don't understand it. And I've talked to so many people where that's kind of the progression. Like you feel led to it in your intuition before you understand why or what's behind it or what is beneath that. And sometimes that can stop people and make them say, well, I don't get it. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. So then I'm not going to do it. But I just wanted to encourage us to lean into that intuitive sense that you might have, even if maybe especially if you're like, I don't really get it. I don't totally understand why I want to be on TikTok and dance, but I do. So I'm just going to go with it and trust. And so just to give yourself that permission to not maybe always get it in your left brain, but to trust that there's something in your gut that's leading you to that for the right reasons. So just wanted to offer that.
I love that. Plus, I think as we get older too, we just feel less permission to do things we're not good at. Like we either have to like make money at it or be an expert and play. I love that garden. Like apparently you weren't a good gardener.
Still not.
Notorious plant killer, as you said, but to do it because we need those releases. And I think that's similar to like not picking an instrument. That's your profession, but painting. So I love it.
Yeah.
And then Jenny, you're going to give us just a closing image to reflect on.
Yeah, just back to our closing image. It's how we've ended all of our time. So this is by the artist Banksy. I can't remember his first name. And it recently was hung up in a hospital just to honor medical workers. So just take a moment to look at it. You see Batman and Spider-Man in his laundry basket, and he has this new hero. And I love that. It connects right to the very first time that we had, where we talked about productivity and how there's room being made. There's new heroes now in the whole world. There's new heroes that are just about getting things done, but they are healer heroes. And I think a lot of you have come to this because you are healer heroes in some way, shape, or form. And I love the image of this little guy, just the pensive look on his face, but he's playing, like he's making the nurse fly like Superman. She even has a cape. And Jesus talks about us becoming like little children because they are free. They are free to be in their imagination, free to explore and not feel afraid of failing, free to be honest with their emotions and not judge them. So as we close this time, and Erna and Tracy, if you want to chime in, I bless you to trust your instincts. I bless you to listen to yourself. And I bless you to play. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, all you beautiful people. As we do, we kind of officially close here. Also, I think we just want to acknowledge we went into shelter in place and we just were like, let's do these Thursday afternoon things. And we really just love those of you who've journeyed with us on this and sort of gone with us as we've experimented and hung out and shared these reflections. You guys have been a really big part of our shelter in place experience. And so we just want to say thank you for coming and trying out this space. We'd love for you to hang out with us in June, where we'll really be able to do some deeper dives with you personally. I think what we love about the conference space is we kind of create and shape a space for you to dive deeper with your own reflection. So feel free to message any of us if you have questions. Otherwise, this is sort of the official, like, you can go if you need to go, and if you want to hang out with us.
We're
I think
here.
Today we're here, and I think it'd be super fun to just hear some more from you guys, the things that you chose to do during your imaginarium time. Man, words. Words are in 2019. Sweating is in 2020. So yes. Yeah, folks, it'd just be fun if you